Hi crafters, so my name is Roxanne Holland and this is my channel Rox's Cards and Crafts. So for those that don't know me, I admin two groups, Cricut Expression for the legacy machines and Cricut Connect for the newer machines. I will be doing a special series called Cricut Expression Classroom. Now this is geared more towards the older expressions, and as I only have two Cricut Expressions, that is the machine I will be using. So in this tutorial, which is the first of the series, I would like to take the time to explain a bit about my experience and what I want to do for all you legacy users. Now don't fast forward me yet. So I purchased my Pink Journey Cricut Expression machine back in 2005, and I knew absolutely nothing about cutting machines. So I don't want to be that person, but back then there weren't enough YouTube tutorials to help, so I just sat with my machine and got to know it. And this book was the result. But like I said, I knew nothing. There wasn't a program just yet, even though technically there weren't programs, but there were older programs called Make the Cut and Sure Cuts a Lot too. I hadn't got any of those. I didn't get Make the Cut, but later on I did get Sure Cuts a Lot too. You could, however, buy a CD-ROM called Design Studio. I didn't buy that because in Australia it was something like $80, and I thought, what the heck, I've got the cartridges, I just want to get to learn my machine. Then Cricut gave us a free software called Cricut Craft Room, but Cricut Craft Room shut down years later in 2018. So I wanted to get to know my book, and the first one that came with the machine, I think I got two that came with the machine, as I have about 80 cartridges now, was the Plantain School Book. I'm sure everybody's machine came with the Plantain School Book. So I just went ahead and started with the 1/2 inch and just cut everything I could to learn my machine. I did all my homework. You don't have to do this. This is just the Virgo in me. But I was intrigued with the, where are they? I was very intrigued with the end cap. So I had to get to learn what Plantain School Book did with these end caps. All right. So I'd really like to get into this with you. So you've got your machine, you've plugged it in. There are only two plugs at the back. One is for a printer cable, which you plug into your computer back in the day, but for you right now, you don't need to worry about that. So you just make sure you put it in the power plug to start off what we're doing today. You've got your package for your cartridge. Take your cartridge out, and what you have there is what we call the overlay. So that's your overlay, and that simply just pops on the top there. It's got it written down there what cartridge you have. And then before you turn it on, just put in your cartridge. Now you can turn it on. When you look at it, it says what version it is. So I've got firmware 2.43, then it disappears. 2.43 was the last update that you could do with the firmware for the Cricut Expression before Cricut Craft Room shut down in 2018. When you get your mat, so this is how you load your mat. Take off the protective clear film that's on the front of your mat. And your sticky mat will be nice and sticky. We will talk about that as we go along. But for now, how to load your mat. You can see the guidelines here. You just push it to the left over here, and then your guideline here, and just push it up as far as it'll go. Don't keep pushing, just push it up as far as it goes. Hold on to it. Give it a bit of a push, and then load your paper here. There's a key. Now what I've done here, you can see I've got a bit of green vinyl and red vinyl. And we'll talk about that later, but that's for when we flip the lid so that you can use normal size pens. Yes, you can do that. And I'm the only one that's given you a video or tutorial to do that. You can go and have a look for that now. But if you have a look there, they don't fit. This gets in the way and it's tucked up right in there. And you can use mini Sharpies for now. I will leave a link for you to go and what I call lift the lid, and you can do that. So then all you have to do is just load paper, and you're sort of just guiding it in. They're pretty good. They've got guide feet here that pull it in, and you're ready to start cutting. For a decent practice, you need to go and get yourself some cardstock. There's nothing on it, so I'm going to unload this mat and just bring it out again. I need some room. Oopsie. All right, we're going to put some cardstock on your mat. So you've just taken off the film, and you keep all your material within that 12 by 12 grid there. And you're going to put that on. Now, see how I just dropped it? Don't do that. I mean, just drop it, but you have to keep going. Always use a brayer. While the mat is sticky, it's probably all right to just go like that. But what you're doing is making sure that every part of this cardstock is adhered to really well to your mat. As the mats get older, they tend to lose the stickiness, and that's where your brayer is best to be used all the time, even with vinyl. Doesn't matter what you're using. Don't just put it on, drop it, and hope that it won't, because if you don't stick this perfectly to your mat, when the blade comes and cuts it, it's just going to move all over the place. You need to think about these things. So I'm going to put that into the guidelines are here and here. Hold it with a bit of support with your other hand, and then press the load button. You don't need to manipulate it or push it too hard. Now, as I was talking about equipment to use, I didn't go out and buy a great deal of anything. A brayer is my number one suggestion for a tool to have. The next would be a pick. So it's just a pick. You can get these cheaply anywhere. You don't have to buy the Cricut brand. And there's all sorts of ways that they look. This is my favorite one, just the straight one. It's easier to maneuver. That's not too bad, but this, and I will, whenever it goes blunt or gets a bit of glue and whatnot over it, I always give it a bit of a file with my filing, with my nail file that I get from my nail lady. And that really makes them nice and sharp for when you're picking vinyl, etc., etc. doesn't hurt it. You're not going to break anything. So that's that and that. Another one would be a lifting tool. You will need that to get cardstock and stuff away. They will need to get cleaned with stuff every now and again, and I always have a bottle of isopropyl alcohol on hand with some cotton swabs, okay, just to clean. So I've just gone and marked that. What else? A lot of people will use baby wipes, but if you want to be a bit more environmentally friendly or conscientious, you can have a bottle of water and some sort of a scraper. Now, when we talk about the scrapers, this is pretty much all I use. And this is just either an old credit card, an old gift card, and this is an old council rates card. And that's just good for scraping. So I just spray it with the water and I scrape, and you can use a rag of some sort to dry the mat. What else? Good pair of scissors. I use reversible tweezers, and they are very, very handy for when you do layering your cardstock. These are good. These are the Cricut brands, so they're pretty good, nice and sturdy, but you can get them cheaper elsewhere. And if there's anything that I need to discuss that you need to get, well, then I will as we go along. But really, that's all you need for now. If you don't have these things, don't panic. It doesn't mean to say you can't use your machine. You can. Just keep in mind that you want to go out and maybe get these things. So all I want to do now is just cut something. To put all these away. And the first thing I want you to cut for yourself, so that you can see how your machine works. Now, with the Plantain School book, when you read it, your binding is down towards you, and that's the natural way, because you say, all right, the A is facing there. But with the Cricut expressions, what they actually do is print down this way. So for now, that's all you need to learn. I don't want you to get upset or shocked that it's going to go down this way and it's not going to cut up that way. So turn your book around and your A will cut actually that way. So we're going to do the A. So the first things in the book is, this is your A, and these are the main, what would you call them? The main characters of this page. So you've got your A and A. If there were other books, you'd have pictures, and then you'd have different, like a hat and a wig and sunglasses. And this is what this machine can do. It's actually got lots of layers with the creative keys. And the first 3 pairs on the left-hand side are different to every cartridge. So what it's going to do with the A is it's going to give it a tall ball, an italic, a roly-poly, an end caps, which takes a bit of getting used to learn how to do, and a shadow. So that would be a shadow to that. So just to get to know your machine, all I want you to do is concentrate on the little one and the upper one. And you'll notice that one's down to the left and one's up to the right. If it's down to the left, it's just normal. So you're not pressing any layers, any creative keys. All you are going to do is press the A. And again, this is quite shocking because you've got to go and find it. They later on brought out a picture of the key and where it was. So you can do yourself a favour and mark the things, but you can see the A. So I'm just going to press the A. And that's the little A. Then what you want to do is set your blade on, because we're using cardstock, so your blade is if it's a new blade, it's going to be on 5. So you'll just wind that little winder till you see the arrow gets to the 5. Your pressure is going to be on maximum. So I'm going to move that to maximum. And the speed can be maximum as well if you want, or just put it on high for now till you get used to it. Like I said, this is an introduction to you learning how to use your machine. Next thing is the size, which you can manipulate around here. Now, my book just so happens I did the Plant and School book and I did the A, and this tells me my sizes. So I might go with a 2.5. So how it's going to cut is that way, right? So hold the book, the binding to the left, it's going to cut that way. Other books are different. This was one of the first ones, and as they went along, they all got different. It's just a matter, by the time you get to know your machine, you'll work it out. So let's press A at 2.5. You're going to unload the mat. And let's have a look at that. Another habit to get used to doing, especially when you've got a brand new mat, is to turn that mat over, slightly bend it back, and peel your cardboard, your cardstock off the mat, nice and gently. That'll come off there. And what you'll get there is, one, you won't get any rips and tears. The cardstock won't be left behind. And this is a brand new mat. So if you do tend to lift it up like that, let me give you a look what will happen. It curls if you take it off the normal way. We don't want it curling. We don't want it grabbing it and ruining our cardstock. Thank you very much. So you have to turn it over. You don't, as I said, as the sticky starts getting a bit less and less, you won't have to do that. Now what you can do is bend a bit of this like that and gently take off your A. Now that was up that way. Let me put that back. That was up that way. And as you can see, holding the Plant and School book to the binding to the left, everything that you cut is going to cut the direction that you see in the book when you hold it that way. So you can take that off, and there is, these were done. I can't believe the size. So that was a capital, and this is a 2.5. Yep. And that's in proportion to the capital letter. I should have done, anywho, it is what it is. So that is an introduction to using your Cricut Expression to get you started. And to introduce myself to you, I'm sorry that there is a lot of talking. Think of it as a podcast, and let's move on, and we're going to start Cricut Expression Classroom number 2. See you in the next tutorial.